Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Breaking overnight, Wikileaks founder Julian Assange evicted from the Ecuadorian embassy where he's spent the past 7 years in refuge. Now London police have stepped in. We'll have the latest.
The man accused of being the Golden State Killer in court, along with victims' family members. What prosecutors plan to seek in the trial coming up.
The new Arvin police chief shares his vision for the department and city. We'll have a look at that and his impressive record at his last post. This is Thursday, April 11th, 2019. Good morning. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Tabitha Mills, Alyssa Carlson.
It's a girl show.
It's a girl day. Alex and Kevin both out not feeling too great.
I know. Some sort of flu bug going through the morning show.
Can't have anything to do with that beautiful weather, though.
No. Or could it?
Oh, could it?
The change?
No,
people always say that, right?
They legitimately are sick. But yes, we're looking at gorgeous weather. Meanwhile, here's your forecast. Will be mostly sunny. We're going to start out around 50, which is pretty mild. And then at noon, 65. And then at 3 o'clock, 70. Sunny and 70, my type of weather. And in the mountains here, starting out mostly sunny, but temperatures only at 37. So a cold start, still a bit breezy today. And winds will be out of the northwest at 20 this afternoon with highs only in the 50s.
It's 5:02 now. We begin with some breaking news out of London, where police have arrested Wikileaks founder Julian Assange. He's taken refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy for the past 7 years, but today the Ecuadorian government withdrew his asylum. So London Metropolitan Police officers arrested him on a court warrant dating back to 2012. Assange has not left the embassy since August of 2012 for fear that if he steps off Ecuador's diplomatic soil, he would be arrested and extradited to the U.S. for publishing thousands of classified military and diplomatic cables through Wikileaks. Just about 20 minutes ago, Metropolitan Police say Assange has, quote, been further arrested in relation to an extradition warrant on behalf of the United States related to the Extradition Act.
Law enforcement agencies across the state are facing staffing shortages, and Kern County is no exception. Arvin's police department has had its own share of vacancies, but the city's new top cop is hoping to change that. Chief Scott Kimball was officially sworn in on Tuesday. Kimball spent 30 years in public service, most recently serving as the McFarland police chief. He acknowledges Arvin PD isn't where it needs to be when it comes to staffing. Out of the 22 spots designated for officers, just 15 of those are filled, the remaining 7 vacant. Kimball says the department is actively searching for the right people to fill the spots.
And we will fill those vacancies. We have recruitment, ongoing recruitment, and so that recruitment is similar to many police departments. We are continuing to accept applications, and we review those applications, and any folks that are qualified for those positions, whether it's a lateral entry police officer or someone who's just coming out of the police academy, those folks are invited back for the hiring process.
FBI-backed crime statistics show that during Kimball's time in McFarland, crime dropped there. McFarland was most recently designated as California's 56th safest city out of some 265. Kimball says he hopes to help bring about a similar public safety record in Arvin.
A teen missing from the Bay Area may be headed to Kern County. This is 16-year-old Michaela Brown, who also goes by the nicknames Kai and Kyla. She's originally from San Leandro up near Oakland. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says Brown was last seen March 23rd. The center believes she may travel to Bakersfield or Delano. If you know where she is, call the center at 1-800-843-5678 or call 911. We've posted all of this information on our website, kget.com.
After days of searching, a pair of missing hikers are alive and safe. The 2 hikers were last seen Saturday while on a day hike to Mount Baldy in the San Gabriel Mountains. When they didn't make it home Saturday, search crews started looking for them. After more than 72 hours of searching, crews found the pair last night. They were taken to the hospital to be checked out, then they were reunited with their families.
State prosecutors plan to seek the death penalty against the accused Golden State Killer, 73-year-old Joseph D'Angelo, if he's convicted. This despite the governor's moratorium on executions. Emily Mayer reports.
The people intend to seek the sentence of death. Joseph D'Angelo stood silently in the front of the courtroom.
We are thrilled with the decision to seek the death penalty.
Ron Harrington says his youngest brother was murdered by the Golden State Killer in 1980.
The Golden State Killer is the worst of the worst of the worst that ever happened.
D'Angelo faces dozens of charges, including 13 counts of murder with special circumstances. District attorneys from 4 of the 6 counties where those crimes were committed, including Sacramento County, will seek the death penalty, despite Governor Gavin Newsom's moratorium on executions.
We totally disagree with the moratorium.
Last month, Newsom put a halt on the death penalty, even after Californians voted to speed up the process. In a statement, the governor's office says the DA seeking the death penalty for D'Angelo, quote, can pursue this action, as is their right under the law.
He has now decided to take his own personal opinions and put those in front of the will of the people of California.
In the past, Sacramento County District Attorney Anne Marie Schubert said the governor doesn't have the power to prevent DAs from asking for the death penalty. But some law experts say it's unlikely someone will be executed as long as Newsom remains in office, regardless of the crime.
That is why we have the death penalty. The death penalty does serve as a deterrent.
That was Emily Mayer reporting. D'Angelo's due back in court in August.
County watchdogs are recommending changes to Bakersfield's new Citizen Oversight Committee. The City Council appointed the committee back in February to provide oversight on how the city spends new tax revenue brought in by Measure N. The Kern County Grand Jury says a coalition of local businesses groups made recommendations to City Council based on the people who applied. The council went through several rounds of voting to choose the committee members, but after the panel was chosen, some people complained. City Council favored the coalition's recommendations too heavily and that the committee lacked diverse representation. The grand jury recommends future committee members are chosen by a random drawing of applicants to be more fair. Among its other recommendations, the grand jury also says future tax measures should be more detailed about how funds would be spent, as some of the tax revenue from Measure N will be used to pay off pension debt, a move some are also criticizing.
Flags at CSUB are at half-staff as the campus mourns the death of a student. Yesterday, the campus revealed Jason Kelly, the man hit and killed in a crash, killed in a hit-and-run crash, was a CSUB student. The 19-year-old was hit by a truck on Haley Street last week in northeast Bakersfield, not far from the Bakersfield College campus. At the time of the crash, BPD said Kelly had been walking in the road and the driver did not appear to be impaired or speeding. In a memo, CSUB President Lynette Zelezny said the university is planning a memorial service and will lower flags around campus in Kelly's memory.
New at sunrise, the Bakersfield Police Department just announced officers will be on the lookout for people driving under the influence this weekend. BPD is holding a DUI checkpoint Saturday night. It will start at 6 o'clock and will run through 2 a.m. Sunday morning. BPD wants to remind people DUI doesn't mean just alcohol. It's any substance that can impair your driving. As we've reported, even though BPD doesn't announce where the checkpoint will be, the department still announces them ahead of time because studies show the notices can deter people from driving under the influence. Welcome back in your 17 Health Watch. Random inspections and stiff fines may be coming to California hospitals not abiding by mandated nurse-to-patient ratios. Labor unions say hospitals routinely violate the law because the state has no system for enforcement. So some lawmakers are working to pass a bill that would require the State Department of Public Health to conduct surprise random inspections at hospitals to make sure they've properly assigned the number of patients to nurses.
The bill sends a clear message to any hospital not following nurse-to-patient ratios that their actions are not only wrong, but endanger the life of patients that they are entrusted to care for.
If the bill passes, hospitals not following ratios would face fines of up to $30,000 for a first-time violation and $60,000 for subsequent violations. Former Governor Jerry Brown vetoed a similar bill last year.
If you suffer from chronic pain like in the neck or back or from a migraine, you probably couldn't imagine going a day without the pain medication needed to treat it. But now that we're in the middle of an opioid crisis in our country, healthcare providers are using an alternative to opioids. Carrie Brown shows us how doctors are using this different technique to pierce through the pain.
Am I hitting the right spot?
Petal resident Cody Daly says years of heavy lifting caught up with him.
I have herniated discs in my lower back, and then the right shoulder pain is just something that's come on recently.
Daly says pain medications were not working for him. He tried physical therapy, but that didn't help completely. He says his therapist recommended something that would stick.
The purpose of dry needling is to help reduce inflammation and pain.
He says he met Hattiesburg Clinic physical therapist Kim Schramm and started dry needling therapy to relieve his chronic pain. Schramm explains this tiny needle takes the pain away.
And when you have pain, muscles tend to tighten up to protect the nerve ending. So therefore the nerve ending becomes inflamed. If I insert the needle, it will relax the muscle and it will bring circulation to the nerve ending, which will in result reduce pain.
Schramm says with opioids, the meds affect the chemistry of your brain, but never addressing the area of discomfort. But with dry needling, she says the needle not only lessens or takes away the pain, but it causes an increase in circulation, which prompts the healing process.
I can isolate that area, insert my needles, use some electric stimulation, reduce the pain at that area, then they can move better and they hurt less.
She says her patients tell her how long they stay pain-free.
So the next day they have the most pain relief, and then it will last for several days. Some patients I performed this technique on maybe 12 different treatments, and they were completely pain-free.
Daly says this therapy does have a powerful effect.
So the lower back, this is only the second time she's done it, so it helps the lower back substantially.
The CDC reports chronic pain is one of the most common reasons people seek medical care.
Welcome back in your 17 Business Watch. As travel season ramps up, a new study finds that 2 out of 3 hotel websites accidentally allow access to guests' personal data. Cybersecurity software company Symantec reports 67% of hotel websites are unintentionally leaking personal information. The company studied more than 1,500 hotels, ranging from 2-star motels to 5-star resorts, spread across 54 countries, including the U.S. and Canada. Some of the personal information the hotels inadvertently leaked to third parties included guests' full names, email addresses, credit card details, and passport numbers. The main issue involved confirmation emails sent to guests that contained a direct access link to the booking. As a result, several third-party services were able to log into a reservation and access that personal information. No word on which hotels were involved in this study. With just 4 days before the tax deadline for this year, there's word even more changes could be coming next year. This as the IRS hopes to eliminate big tax refunds and big payments due. NBC's Miguel Almagar explains what this may mean for you and the price you pay.
With tax day looming and many Americans receiving less than they wanted or paying back more than expected, tonight comes word taxes in 2020 could get even more complicated. Karen Spazzali says more change is the last thing she needs.
My refund was about half of what it normally is.
The proposed changes for 2020, still a work in progress, are aimed at making your returns more accurate and predictable by making sure the amount held back from each paycheck is more exact. That means taxpayers would need to review their withholdings again. And to fill out the new W-4, they could be asked to provide more information, like additional jobs, spousal income, even mortgage details.
There's lots of reasons why an employee might not want their employer to know everything about their tax situation that the IRS does. I think a lot of employees would be concerned that their employers might use that information in ways that are adverse to them.
The IRS plans to release an updated draft for the new W-4 in May, opening it up to public comment and hoping to finalize the changes by the end of the year.
Experts suggest taxpayers gather as much information as possible from previous returns and plan to talk to an accountant or your payroll department before the end of the year.
Thanks for listening to the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's a 15-minute summary of everything you need to know about Kern County. There's a new episode every weekday.